Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's panel on Beyond COVID-19, Strategies for Program Resilience, where I'll be chatting to 4 excellent industry leaders and reviewing how their businesses adapted to the evolving changes during 2020 and what they've put in place for the future. As Jason mentioned, I'm Siobhan Williamson, European Group Director of Business Operations, and I'm coming to you from post-holiday isolation in my London living room, one of the great benefits and adjustments to COVID-19. So in my role at CJ, I focus on best practice, efficiency, and product development, which gives me the unique pleasure of working with all of our CJ departments globally. So with a bit of fun, I'm sure that most of you would have attended one too many virtual pub quizzes this year. And I thought I'd ask our panelists to give us an anecdote from one of their virtual social gatherings while they introduce themselves, to give us a little glimpse into how they've been spending their time this year. So starting with Kathy, over to you, panelists.
Cool, thanks Siobhan. So I'm Kathy Connolly-Livings. I'm the Customer Acquisition Manager at Domino's. I've been there for the last 5 years and looked after affiliates within my remit for the last couple of years of that. So I've kind of been with Domino's as we've become #1 in pizza to now us kind of having to navigate this new world of the rise of the aggregators. My most memorable and standout pub quiz moment of IKEA, or my favourite round that I have taken part in, was titled IKEA or Cheese. Very innovative, the best one. I think I'm pleased to say that I didn't do that well in it, so clearly I've not spent too many weekends browsing IKEA.
Hi everyone, my name's Andrew Turner, Commercial Director at NMPi. Been with the business now for nearly 10 years, so so a few months away from getting that watch that I've been after. I oversee the new business team within the organisation for the UK. And have been involved in the performance industry throughout. I actually believe that CJU was one of the first international conferences that I went to, and it still remains the best performance conference out there, in my opinion. So yeah, I think an anecdote of pub quizzes was that my mum got pretty good at quizzes throughout lockdown, to the point she actually decided to take it even more seriously and actually started applying for television quizzes, and she actually got accepted onto one on ITV, which is going to be a daytime quiz show that's going to be coming out this autumn. So yeah, you can keep an eye out for her and see how she got on.
Hi, my name is Sam Richards. I am Senior Director for Global Partner Marketing at Hotels.com, which is part of Expedia Group. I have been with Expedia Group in a few different roles for almost 9 years now. With regard to my kind of pub quiz anecdotes, I think my favourite pub quiz was one that was with my niece and my family, and my niece got to pick questions. And I think one of the questions that she picked, which kind of got me a little bit, was what's Scooby-Doo's real name? When I thought it was just Scooby-Doo, but apparently it is Scoobert Doo, if anyone is interested.
Hi everyone, I'm Angus Drummond. I am the Commercial Director of VoucherCodes, the UK arm of Retail Me Not. I head up the UK partnerships team and look after all the commercial relationships. Strangest pub quiz question actually came from myself to my team, and we did a round on 90s, and it was 90s banned toys. And there was actually a toy in this selection, which was a popular child's doll at the time, where the rollerblades actually had real life sparks, which was hilarious, and that was very interesting. But I mean, Chev, you've asked these questions. Come on, you've got to share what your pub quiz was.
I mean, I thought I was a Scooby-Doo fan. Apparently, I've been missing a trick. But I guess from me with pub quizzes, I think one of the favorite moments was when my sister decided that she was going to create her own movie name riddle, and she got so excited at the offended sideboard, and then when we actually did the pub quiz, realized that most of the audience didn't actually have sideboard in their everyday vocab, so it took quite a lot to get people to the conclusion of the hurt locker. lesson learned, perhaps tailor the language to your audience. But that was good fun. I'm sure you all agree that we're pretty pub quizzed out for a while though. So let's move on to our panel today. Before we move on, I just wanted to take a moment to remind the audience of the Q&A chat, which you'll find at the bottom of your screen, and we'll spend some time at the end of the panel to go through those. So, as I'm sure you can all agree that COVID-19 has brought so much disruption and change to everybody's lives and as such our business as a whole. And I know that at CJ we've pivoted with regards to our business focuses and development that we hadn't originally considered at the start of 2020. So without further ado, let's move on to our first question, which was, were there any new business initiatives rolled out that were previously not included in your roadmap for 2020? And again, let's start with Kathy.
Oh yeah, so I mean, Domino's was one of the fortunate fast food and QSR brands that was able to remain open for the whole COVID-19 period, and we did trade really well through that. But in order to keep our doors open, we did have to sort of refocus our digital roadmap and switch a few things out. So it became very ops focused rather than that kind of innovative and new creative ideas that we're sort of known for. So, you know, to the top of the list came things like removing collection, reducing down our menu size and removing timed orders, because we needed to do all of this to make sure that it was kind of safe for customers and also safe for our store staff, and they were able to get orders out the door. A couple of the kind of better innovations that we've been able to focus on are, you know, like I mentioned before, due to the rise of the aggregators, COVID has sort of accelerated how many food brands want to opt into delivery and give that option to customers. So everybody's been ramping up their options. That's made the labour market quite a bit of a challenge for Domino's, particularly with drivers. So yeah, delivery drivers all of a sudden, you know, hot property. So we needed to think about kind of how could we incentivize and make sure that we can keep the great drivers that we have. So driver tipping has been something that's been on our roadmap for a long time, but it was never really that close to the top. Things always come in above it. So as we've moved to this cashless society, it's definitely something that's been put right to the top of the list, and we've been testing it in our 40 corporate stores with the view that we'll be able to roll that out, and our drivers will be able to be tipped in the same way they would have when we had cash orders. The second one that I wanted to mention as well is now that we've started to see lockdown ease a little bit, or at least in some places, we want to make sure that customers feel comfortable coming back to collect. From being a delivery only business, they've obviously had a bit of a taste for delivery and kind of how convenient that can be. So we want to think about how we can bring some innovation into the collection business as well. So, you know, we know the customers want to be able to order ahead. They want to walk in, their order to be ready, in and out as quickly as possible. So we have been prioritizing how to make this collection process as convenient and safe as possible. So we've been looking at how we can better utilize mobile as part of this journey. So working with location tech and taking advantage of that. So we can make sure that your pizza's ready and whenever you want it to be, and kind of maybe even you don't have to get out of your car by the time you get to the store. So watch this space for that coming out.
I'm excited personally about that innovation, Kathy, I must say. So if I was to call out a few initiatives that certainly were on our roadmap at the beginning of the year, but I think the way that the year has panned out has resulted in us accelerating them and moving them up the priority queue. So the few I would call out would be our training and development. Suddenly we found ourselves in a place where certain clients in certain sectors suddenly had their BAU pulled beneath them, and we're in a position where they had to realign their focuses. We certainly had clients that were furloughed and clients which had to be retrained and repurposed into different roles. And we saw this as a really good opportunity for us as a media buying agency to do our bit in supporting with training and development into areas where we're experts. So we made quite a significant investment this year into a learning management system. We've uploaded a huge amount of content that we make available. Apologies, that we make available to our team. That's why you should always have water. Yeah, to make available to our team, and that's yeah. So certainly training development would be one area. The second of which is our investment into our app offering. So we've seen a significant change year on year in the time of our clients, for our clients' apps, of time spent on apps, the number of downloads, and also money spent in that platform. And I think it's fair to say that perhaps in previous years we weren't as best equipped to support our clients in how to better activate customers through app journeys. So that's certainly been an area we've made significant investments in. And finally, the expansion of our performance division. I think in times of uncertainty, businesses seek assurance in every way possible. And I think working with partners on a CPA offering has suddenly become more prevalent than ever before. So I think that the performance side of our business has certainly grown during this period as more advertisers open their eyes to that model.
So travel, I think it's fair to say, has been one of the industries that's been most acutely affected by COVID, given the fact that it relies on you not being in a place that is your home. So in the face of clearly compressed demand, we spent a lot of time pivoting inwards to think about what initiatives can we accelerate, and there's been a number of initiatives across quite a few teams across all of the brands. To give you 3 specific examples though, so on the hotels.com side of things, we had planned by the end of the year to move all of our mobile traffic onto a new platform, and we got that work completed inside of a month. On our brand side of things, in the US, we've got 2 vacation rental brands, one which is Vrbo and one which is HomeAway. We plan to sunset the HomeAway brand in the US over the next 12 months, and that was completed in a number of weeks. And then just finally, in terms of how we work, being Expedia Group, we are a number of brands, including Expedia, Hotels.com, and Vrbo, eBookers, to name but a few. And we've just been working much more effectively together internally, sharing insights. And we've even started now to bring together performance marketing teams, which we believe will significantly simplify our business and just make us work far more efficiently.
From our side, obviously, we had launched a sort of flexible working policy at this kind of start of the year, which was fantastic. So everyone was set up at home because we had a lot of things put into our roadmap for this year that we were really hoping we'd still be able to do, even under the circumstances. Due to the pandemic, we fast-tracked an NHS verified user product, which means that NHS customers can come to our platform, verify their email address, and they can get access to some really nice discounts. We launched this within 4 weeks. It was very much a sort of, right, we need to prioritize this, let's do it. We were completely able to do it remotely, and we had over 72 merchants actually give us deals within about a week. And we released a press release not long ago where we actually have verified over 20,000 NHS users, and we have driven over 1 million in merchant sales through these offers, which is fantastic. Obviously, we don't want to stop there now, and we will be continuing to grow and develop on this product, which is really exciting.
That's amazing. I know that without the NHS, we wouldn't be where we are today. So that's an amazing initiative there. And I can echo Andrew's point. I'm looking forward to the collection, but also I'm pleased to see the dough balls back on the menu. So I know that a lot of these changes have come off the back of customer shifts and how they're interacting with your brands. And I know that, Sam, you talked about that in terms of the travel space as well. So at CJ, I know we've been looking at how our customers have been shifting across our network with our COVID-19 trends reports. And we actually saw a 47% increase in traffic volumes across our network. And I think that's very much, demonstrating that customers are moving more online, with a lot of the high street closing and also, a lot more on their mobiles and whatnot. But also we've seen a big shift in the frequency of purchase depending on the vertical. And I think that comes, down to shifts in customer confidence and their need at the time. So let's dig a little deeper into that with our next question and look at how that evolution has been addressed by your business. So this question is twofold. Did you notice any changes in customer behavior due to COVID-19? And how did the affiliate channel support these changes during this evolution? And Andrew, I'd like to start with you. I know that you talked about expanding your performance team, so demonstrating that resilience of affiliate and that CPA model.
Sure, thanks, Chev. So I think there's two kind of key customer behaviours I wanted to touch upon in how I respond to this one. The first is that you know, for sectors that as an agency we certainly saw grow during the pandemic, of, you know, categories that I'm sure you could imagine, of, you know, home and garden, health and beauty, gaming, health and fitness, luxury retail. The most interesting thing that we saw for the activity we ran in these sectors was the point of purchase, and quite a dramatic shift in the movement up the funnel. I think what we were certainly seeing was the role of digital marketing, is the influence it was playing at a much kind of higher level, and actually a reduction in the requirement of influence at the point of purchase. I think that's kind of really talking to you know, to customers that were at a point where, you know, if they were to find a product that they wanted that was in stock and at a price they wanted to pay and could deliver in a timely manner, they were ready to convert. And I think the benefits of that's had for us as a performance partner and in the affiliate space is that it's allowed us to be a lot more expansive in the level of activity that we've been delivering for our clients when we're working on a CPA performance model, that we can suddenly open out and test far more traditionally, you know, branding, traffic-led initiatives that were actually then driving and converting sales. So we found that very interesting, and off the back of that, converting, you know, significant new customer volumes for our clients. I think potentially the next step now is actually for our clients to really determine what the proportion of those new customers that potentially were pandemic customers, and then how to convert those into long-standing, more valuable users, you know, in a post-pandemic world. The other piece that I'll call out is something we've been doing more recently, and that's monitoring the customer behaviours of user groups in regions of the country that have gone into local lockdown. We find that that's going to be a really interesting test to see how users behave differently within areas that have greater restrictions. Early insights we've actually found is actually the e-commerce performance of local lockdown is actually marginally worse than the rest of the country. And I think our kind of early findings of the reasons why is that people are still seeing and are still allowed out to visit stores. So we're actually still seeing that a lot of local lockdowns are perhaps even seeing that visit to store as a means to kind of get out and leave the house. The one category that we are seeing a spike in where there is a local lockdown is around the health and beauty sector, which perhaps points to, you know, the stockpiling nature of the customer. But yeah, those are the two I'd call out. I thought quite interesting. But I think I'll pass over to Sam, who's going to carry on there.
Yes, thanks, Andrew. So from our point of view, I guess there's kind of two very distinct phases. So there was the initial lockdown, and being travel, we are a very considered purchase. So people do tend to book it weeks, months, maybe even the following year in advance. And when that happened, a lot of customers were rushing to either change their booking or cancel their booking. Some of the bookings that people choose are non-refundable, and that meant they wanted to call us to find out if there's any flexibility or change of policy from the accommodation provider, which meant a lot of phone calls coming in. The other bit was a lot of the messaging that we had in market around sales and offers and destination specific promotions just weren't relevant when you just couldn't travel. So essentially the support we needed from our affiliate at that particular point was help us very quickly get in touch, speak to relevant people and update the creative so that it reflected the moment. And I have to say, affiliates were responding same day, if not within hours of those requests. So a big thank you to all of our partners, many of which will be on the call now. The second bit is during the recovery stage. So we always knew it was going to be bumpy, but we also knew that customer booking behaviour would look different, and it has absolutely. So we're seeing customers now booking a lot more domestic, so they're staying and travelling in places where they can drive to. They're very interested in getting flexibility on their booking, so interested in free cancellation as close to the stay date as possible. And cleanliness is also super important. So you'll see on our site now, we're now surfacing content which talks about all of the extra cleaning measures the hoteliers are doing to respond to COVID. The final point is what they're booking. So we're seeing that customers really want to pivot into more kind of vacation rental properties, which essentially is anything with its own front door, kitchen, bathroom and space. So Verbo, our primary vacation rental brand, has really been the one that has seen the most kind of the quickest kind of pickup from the lockdown phase, and we think potentially that is something which could continue, which could go on. In terms of the affiliate support we've had during this stage, just the flexibility on the CPA model, I think has been a great one. Allowed us to kind of start to kind of pivot into activity faster, as well as also affiliate support with regard to starting to kind of focus on promoting domestic, giving customers guidance on how to find refundable rate plans on our site. So we've been really fortunate that affiliates have been very understanding, very supportive as we've gone through this.
And I suppose from my side, speaking from, I suppose, a kind of how clients were responding to us, obviously when the pandemic hit, it's safe to say we were having a lot of tough discussions, and it was really important that we showed as much support as possible while also looking at our business needs as well. And we were working with the likes of CJ to ensure that this was happening, very much in contact all the time. One of the things that we found was that we had to be a little bit more flex with plans, and sometimes people would maybe want to work business as usual, which was great. Others would maybe want to reduce their voucher code strategy because they couldn't keep up with demand. Others increased their strategy because they closed stores and therefore they had only online to trade on. And then some had also requested to come off site once again, mixture of different things. And we quickly realised that a lot of our merchants definitely need a little bit more help in the education process with customers. And as so many customers were coming to our platform, we realised that we needed to not also be transactional, but informative to those customers before they went on to the merchant website. And so we managed to launch something we're calling a COVID module, which was displayed at the top of the merchant page, and it had automatic information that was dropped down so as the customer could make that informed decision before going on to the merchant site, which was really, really well received. And a lot of these pages have now been removed, but obviously going into Q4, it's so unknown, and we are working on a lot of things behind the scenes right now to make sure we can be as flexible with our retailers, because I think we all really just have to support each other's, work with the networks like CJ in order to make sure that Q4 is great for everyone. Goes nicely into how's the affiliate channel supported. It's definitely proven its strength throughout COVID and continues to do so. We as a partner have very flexible payment options, so there were retailers who could switch models in terms of payment, and also because it is on performance, a lot more were switching on to our channel, which was really nice to see. Initially, we also managed to see we can see sales in real time. So initially we launched a report that we get every week, which would show the sector shifts, very much to what Andrew was saying there, watching these kind of changes and monitoring that. It was quite scary. Travel made up about 20% of our revenue. And actually in the previous quarter, it was about 30%. So looking at how we were going to make that up was definitely very useful to have these reports, and seeing things like home and garden, home utilities, etc. Switching round, which was really good. And let's not forget as well, with the affiliate channel, it is a human channel. There were messages not just about work, there were messages, how are you doing? Like, shall we just have a call for a coffee? Our pub dev manager, CJ, actually doesn't live far from me. We're messaging like, if you're locked in, I'll send you supplies. There's that human aspect of it, and we all really should celebrate that. Kathy, it would be interesting to hear your point of view on how a different type of retailer responded.
Yeah, so I think like we were fortunate enough that we kind of saw that massive spike in sales, especially at the start of lockdown, kind of March, April time. You know, there was really limited options in what people could get food delivered, and it was a fight to get to supermarkets. So obviously, naturally, that kind of caused a massive increase in online sales for us. And we're already quite a digital heavy business. Our online incidents would have already been at around 84%, and in the peak of COVID, so yeah, that March April period, we saw that spike up to 94%. But actually, even as lockdown has eased and more stores have opened up, and kind of, you know, your McDonald's and your Nando's have opened up that everybody was crying out for, we've actually still maintained that 90% online incidence. So it feels like that is a trend that is set to stay, which, you know, is great. You know, we like to think of ourselves as a digital company that just happens to sell pizza. So to kind of, yeah, for 90% to be that new target and baseline for us, that's been great. In terms of messages, we did switch off quite a lot of our promotional activity. At the start, we just really felt like it wasn't appropriate, and we wanted to use the marketing channels to give customers a bit more reassurance about the steps that we were taking. So we wanted to tell them about contact-free delivery and contactless and cashless payments and things like that, rather than, you know, the deals and things that we're known for. And we wanted to make sure they knew that we were operating safely for our staff and drivers, but also for them as customers, so to give them the confidence that they could place an order. And actually, we saw our feedback scores go up. It just felt like customers had a lot more patience with us, and they appreciated kind of what we were doing. So I think that was definitely the right thing to do at the time. We have now switched back to being more food focused and kind of making that front and center, but sort of in the background, we're ready to switch out the messaging kind of and react to local lockdowns should we need to, or it feels appropriate. In terms of affiliates, it was one of the channels actually that we kept on. We as I said, we pulled back a lot of our promotional and sales driving activity, but affiliates we did keep always on. It's a channel that we obviously see quite a lot of customer loyalty with, and it drives quite a lot of traffic to the site for us. It also helps us bring in those value-seeking customers, and it felt like that was even more appropriate at the start when people didn't really know what was happening or they were put on furlough. So, you know, there was already that natural increase in digital traffic, but actually we saw our affiliate traffic go up 70% year on year for the first half of the year, which was just ridiculous. I mean, double-digit growth, great, but to be, you know, at 70% was not what we were expecting, and it's really helped get affiliates kind of on the radar of the wider marketing team, which has been great. And actually, the numbers were so good in the UK that it accelerated us getting our program live in Ireland. So that went live in May. We've never really had a structured program over there, so that was a real success. Another tick off the objectives list for me, even better. And then the other really important audience for us through affiliates is our student audience. And again, with freshers going digital this year, you know, we would have had a massive presence at Freshers Fair. We're the ones there that people are fighting to get their free slice of pizza or their, you know, the Domino's t-shirt. So we don't obviously have any of that this year. So we've tried to sort of deepen the relationships that we have with, you know, student beans. We've worked with them for, you know, over 5 years, and then more recently uni days to deliver some really great content and kind of offers out to students while they're all locked in holes and, you know, need to get around a pizza to meet the new flatmates and get to know each other even better than probably what they would have had before.
Definitely. I imagine all the guys in lockdown up in Manchester are loving the pizza. So it sounds like the channel for every single one of you has really shown that stability and that flexibility, which is amazing to see, especially with, you know, messaging and investment. Before we move on to the next question, I just wanted to do another reminder to our audience for the Q&A. So keep those questions coming. So now that we can all agree that, you know, Andrew, you talked about looking at studies with regards to different local lockdowns and whatnot, and it's been quite tricky to stay on top of all the rules and regulations and constantly shifting across cities and countries. It'd be good to see, you know, what your businesses have done with regards to that. So while all of us, especially people like me with a bit of wanderlust, dream of our next adventure, even if it is domestic, maybe we can start with Sam on our next question. So were there any market-specific campaigns or initiatives that you delivered as a business throughout COVID-19, well, during the COVID-19 period? And we are a little tight for time, so this question we might want to do a quick rapid fire.
Got it. Be short and sweet. Okay. So in the US, right at the beginning of lockdown, actually, we ran a campaign. We had figurehead, Captain Obvious, actually do a campaign showing him staying home and doing social distancing and encouraging everyone else to do the same. And we got some really positive feedback from the market on that, how people just felt it was really timely, and it was quite nice to see a brand not encouraging them to do the core thing, which is go travel, and encourage them to do the right thing, which at that particular time was stay at home. Now, we operate in 60 different markets, so rather than have very rigid plans for each of the markets, we knew the situation was going to be very fluid. So what we did with our teams is we provided some guidance, as in, this is the type of messaging you can do in these markets during lockdown, this is what you shouldn't be doing. And then we gave them some guidance in terms of when you see these things post-lockdown, then you can run this type of activity, and this type of activity you shouldn't be running. And that's been really helpful, because it's allowed the teams to have some creativity and have some autonomy in terms of what they want to run. But also, as we've seen markets go in and out of lockdown or partial lockdowns, it's also meant that people knew exactly how to respond when a market went backwards, which sadly we've seen in a number of markets, including the UK. So I think that's been really, really useful and allowed us to be quite nimble. Kathy, how about you?
Yeah, I just look after UK and Ireland, so slightly fewer countries than what you're looking after there, Sam. But as I mentioned, kind of the success that we've seen in the UK has meant that we've now rolled out our programme in Ireland. So, started with a few partners, and just last week kind of added a few more to that, which is great. We did actually do as well a little bit of geo-targeted activity in London. So our London and kind of inner city stores were definitely more impacted than the more rural stores, just because all of a sudden there wasn't that heavy footfall they'd normally see. There was no business lunches or team get-togethers, in offices. So we did with one of the affiliates, the geo-targeted activity. But I think we still really struggled, but it just seemed like there was a lot less people in London. I think we're still sort of struggling there, and I'm trying to get that back.
Very much like Kathy, I only oversee the UK really. Over in the US, I do know though that they were very much kind of challenged, very much kind of same challenges as us, supply chain issues. There were sort of fulfillment issues at centres, and I think a lot of brands were putting a lot of focus into getting ready for the holiday season. One of the big shifts over in the US was definitely the Prime Day moved over to October, and that obviously, not being fully operational and other things going over in the US made it quite difficult. However, Retail Me Not did actually launch the Mega Savings event, which was really successful, and that was in July. Andrew, I don't know about yourself. How did your business do?
So we run campaigns for clients globally. So I think taking on board the level of an impact of COVID on a region by region basis was really, really important for us. I think something that we do that's I think relatively unique is we support clients in understanding budget allocation by region through considering a significant number of factors, which helps us inform an algorithm to inform a relative budget allocation by market. So we consider factors such as population, GDPR, relative competition, historical site performance. But a new metric that we introduced into that algorithm during the pandemic was the relevant local region R rate, which again had an influence on the recommendation to the spend that we allocated. So it certainly has had a really, really critical impact on how we have supported our clients internationally.
That's really interesting. I think that R rate and getting ahead of that is going to, prove very valuable even looking forward. And Angus sort of teed us up thinking about Prime moving to October and how the Christmas has shifted, forward and hopefully not cancelled. So, let's use that to consider our last question, which is probably one of the most important for the day. And I think we have to take so much more into consideration than we ever have had to in the past. So when we think about all the key learnings from the last 9 months and how we turn those into actionable tactics moving forward, and with peak looming, What does the future look like for your business, considering the lasting effects of COVID-19? And if you can pull in some affiliate specifics on that, that would be great. Angus, shall we kick off with you?
Yeah, sure. So I'd say, like I mentioned earlier, we started the remote working at the beginning of this year. We do know that innovation can happen from home. I actually don't know about anyone else on the panel here. It'd be interesting to understand. I find that more meaningful meetings actually happen when it's not a 2-minute meeting, that's actually a 2-hour meeting, because you end up getting into loads of chat. The Zoom link or whatever you're using actually allows you to have sort of more condensed meetings. And I think that constantly innovating on our products, innovation is key for us as a business, making sure as well that, you know, we're growing the NHS product. We also have a student product that we are growing and looking into, and it's given us more time to really focus on that. And I think that it's going to be even more so important for people in the UK as sort of job retention schemes, etc., change. People are always going to be looking to say, if we're going into, as we said, the busy Q4 period, need to work really closely with our networks, our agencies and our retailers to make sure we're all keeping each other updated, being reactive, being open and honest about things that are going on in our businesses. And I think it's really important that we all focus on our teams, and we're certainly doing that. I know it was touched on in Meyer's intro, but diversity is something that we have to look at and address. And I think in the affiliate industry, we have a real good opportunity. There's a real community feel in this industry, and we have a real strong opportunity to really do something here. And yeah, I mean, Kathy, how are you sort of feeling going up to peak, and how's it sort of looking for you?
I mean, it feels like this whole year has been a peak. We've not had a break yet. We normally get a breather over the summer, and it's not happened this year. So yeah, I mean, sales are still looking really positive for Domino's, and I guess, you know, long may that continue, and we hope that it will stay that way for the rest of this year. You know, we are looking to extend our affiliate program into 2021. You know, we want to look to add more publishers. We want to really deepen the relationships that we already have. So we have just taken on, so yeah, it's become more of a focus for the business. So we're actually taking on a new affiliate manager. It's not a position that we've had specifically in the business before. So I think that's great and a real positive step that sort of shows like how seriously we're taking this channel. And I think that would really help us kind of build the relationships that we have. We really want them to be key partners and not just someone that we fire a deal out to every month. We know how much value that we can drive from affiliates, and we want to continue to kind of look at how much more data we can bring into the decision-making process. So kind of all the stuff that was mentioned in the keynote, you know, it's all kind of music to my ears. Like, I just want to be getting involved in kind of all the data that CJ can be passing back to us. You know, as a business, we've invested in a strategy and insights team internally. They'll be helping us look at, you know, marketing spend effectiveness and where we should be spending our money. And I think, you know, like it was mentioned, affiliates kind of has this reputation of being, you know, doesn't drive any incremental, and it's kind of the goal hanger. And I think we really want to prove that wrong and show that there is a load of value. And, you know, from that, then we can look at, you know, what messages should we be serving to the different groups of customers, new, lapsed, existing, things like that. I think as well, the pandemic has just really accelerated our evolution to be a truly digital business. You know, I mentioned before, we like to see ourselves as a digital business that sells pizza, but actually, you know, that's now coming out in our ways of working, but also in kind of how our customers shop and engage with us. So we've got some really exciting innovations to come on our tech roadmap, you know, even more investment into marketing channels. And as if curbside collection wasn't big enough, we've actually got some new menu items coming mid-October. So also watch this space for those.
You're drip feeding us Domino's news, Kathy. I love it. I would definitely support the investment in the performance channel. You know, we're 16 years old this year, and I think our investment and commitments to the performance channel is stronger than ever, and is only gonna go one way. So definitely call that out. I think diversity of product and sector, I think, is going to continue to be really important for us, whilst of course we'll continue to get behind what's got us to the point we are today. I think if this year's shown us anything, you know, having you know, a broad set of sectors and services within your business is going to support resilience and support, you know, weathering, you know, challenging times like we are in at the moment. So I think we're obviously going to continue to expand our product set. And I'd finally say in investment in people and skill set. I think we've been fortunate to continue to be able to hire to some extent this year. I think also as well upskill and cross skill people within the business into areas where we have seen successes in 2020. So that's probably what I would call out. Over to you, Sam, to finish this off.
Yeah, sure. So I think the main point for us in terms of what you can expect to see from us, as Expedia Group, I think we're just going to be a way more agile business. We've used this time, as I said at the beginning, to really make investments in our technology and process, and I expect that when we come out, and we will come out of this, and people will travel again, that's going to really bring a lot of dividends for us as a business. Regarding the channel, as I said earlier, our partners have supported us through this whole thing, and sometimes it's been tough, and we've asked them to do things quite quickly, and they've been very, very flexible with us. So a big thank you again to them. But we continue to see value from both the existing partners and also from the new partners that joined the program. So in 2021, we're going to continue to build upon the success of the channel. We're going to continue to look to grow channels. So lots of exciting things to come, and watch this space as we finish up this year and go into the next one.
Amazing. I feel like there's a lot of exciting things coming around the door. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you for taking the time to share your experiences and your plans for the future.